All right, guys, your next comic coming to the stage is a very funny guy. Please welcome Conor Delehanty.
Hey, keep it going for Seth, everybody. Clap it up for him. All right. After Tim, I'm just going to give you guys a minute. Just going to let you guys adjust to a person who finished college. They're going to be full sentences. Multiple syllables. So I just want to preface that up front. Tim, do you know what preface means? Probably not. Never read a book. He laughs because it's true. When Tim was telling that story about getting a happy ending, he was talking about the sad dude who was talking about not having like a family for the holidays. I was kind of hoping it was going to be like a Fight Club ending where really that was just him the whole time. And I'm at a Bar Louie on Thanksgiving again. Oh my gosh. Tim acts like you look at Tim and you're like, oh, his life goal was to become a bully from a 90s movie. You succeeded. He's like a Make-A-Wish kid, but like his disease is just a crippling gambling addiction. Tim went into $16,000 worth of debt from online poker. He's the happiest person I've ever met. We're all doing it wrong. Oh boy. I guess you can start talking about yourself now, Conor. I have my mother's here tonight. Tim talking about his father. My mom's here. She's a good lady. We're real good buddies. It's pretty cool. We're pals. Like we had more of like a friend relationship growing up than like a mother to a son, which was pretty cool. A whole lot of high fives, not a lot of hugs. But like now she's older and she's dating, so it's like I don't want to be your buddy anymore. She's been dating a guy for like 5 years now. He's here too. He's a good dude. But they went on a big trip together once, and I gave her a call when they got back from the trip, and I was like, hey, Mom, how's your trip? What'd you guys do? Did you have fun? She was like, oh, yeah, the trip was great. We just kind of hung out and fucked the whole weekend. Yeah, this is why I don't call you, Mom. What do I want for Christmas? How about some boundaries? It would be delightful. I would like her to marry this guy, though. I really do. And it's not for any romantic reasons, like I think they belong together or anything. It's just because I'm tired of having to say the phrase, my mom's boyfriend. And it just sounds gross and I feel disgusting. I feel like every time I say my mom's boyfriend, suddenly everyone knows that I like to eat gas station sandwiches. Like that's not a phrase you use to describe someone you like love or think is distinguished even like a little bit. Like my mom's boyfriend has never been written in a will. But it is in most police reports. Pretty much all of them. He's a good fella. His name is Mark. I like him a lot now. At first it was a little weird. He pulled a big power move on me. This is what he did. I went over to his house. He made a very nice dinner. It was a very nice time. But then after dinner, he pulls me aside and he goes, hey, Conor, come to my bedroom. I want to show you something. Which is never a good sign. So we go over to his bedroom and then laid out across his bed 10 guns! Guys, I'm going to be honest. I would have been scared by one gun. I don't know why a whole set was necessary. I don't know what made him look at one gun on a bed and was just like, nope. That's not enough for Conor. And then he put 2 down, was like, nope, I have to show him I have more guns than hands. And then 3 was like, nah, it can't be a prime number. And then he just rounded up. 10 guns. That's just the most aggressive way he could have gone about saying, like, hey, Conor, here's where I bang your mom. And here's why you're going to do nothing about it. Calm down, have at it, whatever. I shouldn't describe my mother's body that way. Like she's dip at a party. Like, have at it. Never, we got more in the fridge. Don't worry, she's here, but she's gross, so it's cool. My mom, she also kind of has a gambling addiction. Not as bad as Tim's. But she goes to the casino a lot, like almost every weekend. I think you can tell it's a problem when you just start referring to it as the casino and not just a casino. But this is how she'll try and justify it to me. She'll say, Conor, I don't have a gambling addiction. I'm just playing the slots. It doesn't mean you don't have the addiction just because you only do the lamest form of that addiction. Like, you can't be like, yeah, I get drunk every night. I get blackout drunk every night. But I'm not an alcoholic. I'm just drinking Bud Light Lime. Would an alcoholic be drinking out of this coconut? I think we all struggle with addiction in some way, shape, or form. I think we all have something. I think it'd be weirder if you didn't. You know, if you're just like, yeah, that's my favorite thing, but I only did it once. So, it's a whole lot weirder. Like I've never struggled with drugs or alcohol, but at one point in my life, I did spend over $100 on Weird Al Yankovic CDs. So I got it in there. Sex is an addiction. Some people are sex addicts, and they want to be looked at the same way that like drug addicts are looked at, and I don't think that they should. And here's why. People who are really addicted, no, they're addicted, Conor. People who are addicted to things like cocaine or heroin, a reason that they keep going back to it is because they're like chasing that first high. Like it's never as good as the first time they did cocaine. And that's why I don't think sex is really the same. Because if you can't have sex that's better than your first time having sex, I don't think addiction is your problem. I think you're the weirdest person I know, and get away from me now. The only reason your first time should be your best time is if you're a praying mantis. I remember when I had sex for the first time, I remember actually, like in science class, like they teach you that after a praying mantis, after they mate, the female, she kills the male. I heard that in school, and I was like, that sounds terrifying. But then I had sex for the first time. I was like, that sounds about right. That is what she should do based on my performance. It was not good. I don't know why we try to romanticize losing your virginity. Like in songs sometimes be like, yeah, I'm gonna make it like it's your first time. No, please don't. Like if I was about to have sex with a girl and she was like, yeah, let's make it like your first time, I'd have to be like, oh, well in that case, we're gonna need a bunk bed. Yeah, it was not good. It was very bad. And the person whose bunk bed it was is here tonight, and that's weird for me. It was his childhood bunk bed, and I ruined it. Oh, boy. Also, I did not wear a condom when I did it, which was not very smart. Kids don't do that out there. Because you'll get kids. It's weird. But this is what I did. I was super freaked out. So what I did afterwards was because I was super freaked out, this is what I did. I texted my older brother, and I sent this text into the universe. I said, hey, Joe, I just lost my virginity. I didn't wear a condom. I'm really scared. I need to talk. He did not text back because he was very busy showing that text to all of his friends. You kind of have to, though. That's the best way to be like, hey guys, I might be an uncle. And he's here, and that's the first time we've ever talked about that. Oh boy. I'm a single dude these days, not in the game and all that biz. I went on a Tinder date last week. All right, it was pretty cool. We talked for like 3 hours at a bar, but that's all we did. Like, no, not like boom boom time or whatever. I don't know, from the 50s. Boom boom. What game show are we on? But I was really nervous about the second date, and I tell us our friend, and he was like, why are you nervous? You said you guys talked for 3 hours. And I was like, yeah. I think I said all the things that I can possibly say. Like, I don't have any more opinions, unless she wants to talk about the Indiana Pacers in the 90s. Because then that's another 3 hours, but that's all I got. We talked about movies, and at one point, she said, oh yeah, like that movie 14 Years a Slave. And I was like, don't you mean 12 Years a Slave? And she goes, nah, same thing. It's not? Like, I don't know, I'm not a historian, but 2 years, no, thank you. But I went out with her again because I'm a shallow piece of garbage. I think I'm to the point where I'm gonna stop letting like pretty ladies say mean things to me when I hit on them. This happened to me a few months back. I was talking to a lady after a show, and this is what she said to me. She was like, when you were on stage, you reminded me of the movie American Psycho. And I don't know, if you haven't seen that movie, it's not a romp. Not a whole lot of fun in that one. But then I was like, giving her the benefit of the doubt, I was like, maybe she thinks I look like the guy, and she goes, no. Not the way you look, just the way you made me feel. So the bad parts. That'd be it's like if I were like, hey, spending time with you makes me feel like I'm at an amusement park. Not like the roller coasters and the joy. You just smell like elephant ears. And your skin feels like Dippin' Dots. Skin of the future. But I kept chatting up this gal because she was pretty and she was my type, which is ethnically ambiguous. That is my type. You guys didn't need that detail. But this is what she said to me. She said these words out of her face into my face. This is what she said. She said, I think that there are ghosts in my house, and I'm going to get some supplies to try and get rid of them. I have not heard of that store. Is that like a Lowe's or a Home Depot? I don't know. I don't believe in ghosts, ladies and gentlemen. And it's because of those ghost shows on TV, like Ghost Hunters and stuff. Those kind of disprove it for me. Because on those shows, the whole tagline is like, oh, these people, they died with unfinished business. So they got stuck between this life and the afterlife. Scary, right? But they always go to like a haunted mansion or like an abandoned mental hospital. They never go to like a haunted studio apartment. And I don't know what says that you died with unfinished business more than dying while living in a studio apartment. I don't care how old you are. In your mind, that's a transitional period. Also, that's a short episode. They just show up, they're just like, oh, so, is this room haunted? No. Next week on Ghost Hunters. It's just the whole thing. I did write that joke while I lived in a studio apartment. And now I live with Tim, so I don't know if it's an upgrade. I have to listen to that dumb cackle every single day. I came home yesterday from a long day at a work at a job that has a salary because I'm way better than Tim. And Tim was pouting while wearing a dinosaur onesie. In the living room. And I was like, what's wrong? And he was like, I think I hurt my neck headbutting you yesterday. So no, you're not the alpha male, Tim. Clearly not. What the fuck am I doing? I don't know, I used to live alone and it was not good. I did it for a whole year. It was a very strange time in my life. Because I was just stuck alone with my own thoughts. And this is how weird it got. For a 1 month period while I lived alone, I was seriously considering taking up the hobby of whittling. Just making tiny little things out of wood. I don't think I'm a prime candidate for whittling because I don't have a rocking chair or a war that I'm trying to forget about. Those are the only reasons you pick up that hobby. You just make one little figurine for every friend you watch to die in the dirt. I Googled whittling. Very surprised to find out I was not the first person to Google whittling. If you Google whittling, it says people who searched whittling also searched, where is my email? And what is my password? Doing all right there, Gal? Okay. Because I care about my audiences, I just want you guys to... I hope we all don't have the sniffles and all that BS. I do have a job that I mentioned earlier. I inspect homes for a living. That's what I do. It's great. I just get to go inside people's domiciles every single day. It's interesting because I don't know if you find people knew this, but weird people are the weirdest at home. So I just get a backstage pass to the freak show every single day of my life. I went to a 2-bedroom house once, just one woman, she lived there by herself. 1 bedroom, just bed, dresser, etc., standard bedroom. But the other bedroom, there was just trash and broken toys spread across the whole floor. And one thing on the wall, which was a framed poster for the movie Twister. Yeah, this woman had made her own shrine to the movie Twister. She lives among you and you should be scared. I like my job. I get to drive around a lot, which is cool. Like I get paid to just drive on the highway and listen to Seeker. It's pretty good. I was in traffic once behind one of those trucks that has a trailer behind it. It was one of those trailers that's filled with horses. And I think that's really cruel. Not because they're like packed in there real tight, just because cars replaced horses, and what better way to just rub it in their face? Going 90 miles down the freeway at 200 horsepower? That must be what it felt like for the first mailman who ever got an email. It's like, oh no. This is not ideal. I think the cruelest part about that for me is the fact that they do call it horsepower. Because like we all get replaced by things in our lives, but there's never a mathematical equation to show how much better the new thing is. For example, it's really important for me to try and be friends with all of my ex-girlfriends. But that'd be really hard if every time I was like, hey, so how are you and John doing? She was like, oh, great, he loves me with 10 Conor power. You're like, oh no, I am leaving this Starbucks immediately. Man, that was a harsh grunt over there. Someone all right? Oh man, someone smoked for 50 years. Yeah, so I work in real estate. I never wanted to do that, but when you got a face like this, they just give you jobs like that. I look like I was born with some kind of certification. You know, a birth certificate and something else. I was a criminal justice major in school. I used to want to become a cop. That used to be a dream of mine. And I just wanted to do it because I really liked cop movies as a kid. Just like, yeah, I want to go against the rules, bang, bang, shoot some stuff. But I realized a lot of the people I had class with, they wanted to become cops because they felt like they had to do it, like it was a family thing. Because they'd be like, I was a cop because my dad was a cop, because his dad was a cop, because his dad was a cop. But men are the only ones who can justify a job that way, because women can't go back that far. Because it'd be like, I was a cop because my mom was a cop, and because her mom wanted to, but your grandpa wouldn't let her. I think it's great that women's roles have changed for the better. But some things haven't really progressed along with that, like some of the phrases that we still use. Because you can go to a restaurant and it'll be like, hey, you can come here and get food just like mom used to make. That doesn't really mean all that it used to. Like, that made sense in the 50s. Like, when they stayed home one day, spent a lot of time on a nice meal. I think to have it make more sense to people of my generation would be if it said, hey, you can come here and get food just like mom used to make after she worked a double shift. And the whole restaurant is just a bunch of angry women giving you hamburger helper. Yeah, that was my experience. We were a zesty Italian family. We got stroganoff over here. What's going on? Ooh, buddy. Sorry, that's how I have fun. I don't know. I don't know what you guys do. Oh man, I'm worried. She's fine, everybody. Okay, I'm the only one who cares about this poor woman who has a cough. You want to... This is the weirdest way to attack an audience. I live in Chicago and I grew up here. I'm happy to be back here. I think according to the Facebook group right now, I have 2 ex-girlfriends and my mom in the crowd, so that's delightful for me. I'm going home with one of them. I don't know who. Let's see what happens. Probably mom. That is her. I don't know, Chicago, it's a dangerous city, but I've been pretty lucky for the most part. I haven't had too many run-ins, but here's something that happened to me about half a year ago. I'm gonna tell you this little story. It was a Wednesday night. I'd gotten a pizza for my roommates and myself. And then at 6 p.m., I almost got robbed by a prostitute in my own backyard. I know that sounds made up. I know that sounds like a lie that like a suburban mother tells you to try and get you to not move to Chicago. Like, don't move there, the hookers, they'll rob you in broad daylight. Don't carry a pizza in your arms, it leaves you defenseless. So here's what happened. I walk into my backyard, pizza in my arms, keys on top of the pizza. I'm very excited about this pizza. So I walk in, and this woman approaches me. She says, hey, do you have change for a 20? And I said, no, I'm sorry, all I have is a 20. She goes, well, do you have change for a 5 or a 10? And I was like, you don't know how numbers work. So then I kind of put things together because I was like, oh, I don't recognize this woman. I live in a very small building. I was like, you don't live here, do you? She said, nah, I was just taking a piss back here. But like, I just really wanted to eat this pizza. So I was just like, you know what, that's fine. You go on your way, I'll go on mine. No big deal. So I try and walk by her, and then she grabs the keys off the top of my pizza. Oh no, bummer. This is not good. And I didn't even react at all because I wasn't ready for this. I was like, the biggest stress going on in my head was, it's like, okay, there are 8 slices of this pizza. There are 3 of us eating this pizza. Who's getting 3 slices? It's the only thing going on in my head. So then we just get in this weird back and forth of me being like, hey, give me my keys. And she's like, nah, give me $20. I'm like, nah, just give me my keys. And she was like, how about a loan? And I was was like, judging by the way you said that, I don't think you're eligible. I'm not a banker. And then she said, well, do you want a blowjob? And I said, no. And then she said, well, why not? Is it because you're dating someone? And I was just like, nah, we're not really like dating, we're talking, and I don't know exactly what it is. I know this would not be permitted. So then it's just this weird back and forth of us just like yelling at each other. And then I was like, okay, this is what I'll try and do. I'll call the cops, maybe that'll freak her out, and then she'll just scram, you know. So I pull my phone out, but I still have the pizza in my arms, and she just tries to knock the phone out of my hands. So I was like, okay, I gotta go to plan B. And plan B is pizza on the ground, 2 hands on the phone, call the cops. So I get to pizza on the ground, and then she steps on my pizza. And now the stakes have risen. And then I say to myself, am I gonna have to beat up a prostitute today? Which I haven't had to say since I played Grand Theft Auto as a kid. Been a while. So then I just pick up the pizza, and we're just in this weird back and forth. And then she starts saying something to try and scare me. This is what she said. She was like, hey, there's a man behind the stairs over there. You don't have to make me get him and have him get all the money. I was like, no, I don't want that. But then she kept yelling for this man, but nobody ever came out. So I was just like, oh, she's bluffing. So to call her bluff, I ended up saying the most sexist thing I have ever said, which was, okay, if there is a man back there, I'll give a guy $20. And I'm not proud of it. I was just like, yeah, I'll give a guy 20 and you 14. That's what society deemed appropriate. I'm sorry, we just live here. I didn't make the rules. But then after a whole lot of banter, a man did come out. And he was very angry. But not at me, at her. So he walked up to her, and I swear to God, he said, bitch, don't make me smack you, which I thought was a sentence that only existed in stereotypes. But it was real. And so they're just yelling at each other, and then I just kind of have to like pipe my way back into the conversation. It's like, hey, what's going on, guys? And he just goes, hey, my name's Andre. I was just trying to get a blowjob from this bitch. I don't want any trouble. So in a time of dire peril, this is how I react. I go, hey, Andre, I'm Conor. Nice to meet you. That's not fight or flight. That's just manners in the worst time possible. It's like if my mom was there, she'd be very proud right before she watched me get murdered. But I introduced myself to the guy, and I guess he was feeling my vibe, because this is what he did. He grabbed my keys from her, gave them to me, and then just left. Yeah, that guy has the weirdest moral compass of any human being. Just like, yeah, I'll get a blowjob in your backyard, but your money is your money. I told this story to all my friends and family after it happened, and everybody had the exact same reaction, which was, so how was that pizza? Because they care about me. And the pizza was fine, because it was Chicago deep dish, and they're stiletto proof. Which is an unknown characteristic. So I picked up that pizza, took it upstairs, and you're goddamn right, I ate 3 slices of that pizza. I do it one at a time. Everybody's going to clap at some point. It's going to be a long show. Boy, I got to skedaddle on out of here. So I'll just leave you guys with a fun tip. People during the winter get too sad because they're stuck inside, and I don't think they need to be. Because people just like, they're stuck inside, they take to the internet, and they're like, oh, watch another season of some dumb show on Netflix, boo boo boo, hashtag losing, or whatever. Stop it, don't do it. This is what I do during the winter months to keep my spirits up, and I suggest you do the same. I just watch hours upon hours of videos of soldiers coming home and surprising their children. Oh boy, those are the best. Those turn any frown upside down. I like those videos so much that now I support the war. It's like whatever needs to happen to keep these things coming, I am on board. Bring our boys home, but one at a time. Let's draw this thing out. Thank you guys very much. That's my time. Enjoy playing. Have a good night.
Conor Delehanty.